Hey, what's up guys, Grace here, back with some more Anthem news, and today we have some more updates regarding the 90-day roadmap for Anthem. I've told you guys I would bring a video update on it as soon as we have more information, and there we have it. This has been posted literally 16 minutes ago at the time of making this video, and it's an update note from Ben Irving, the lead producer over at Bioware, and Chad Robertson, the head of live service, on the 90-day calendar, aka the roadmap we had for the past 3 months. And you pretty much know what it is, so I'm gonna skip the introductory piece over here. It's just about what's been happening in the past 10 weeks, the bugs that Bioware has been working upon, the feedback that they have listened to, and all of that, yada yada. Of course, they also talked a little bit more about the newest update 1.1 and the biggest features in it, like the stronghold and all of that. So I'm gonna skip all of this. It's not that important. What is important though is all regarding the Act 1 calendar and pretty much everything else, because this affects the whole calendar, not just Act 1. If you think about it, it's going to affect all of it in the long run. If you delay something today, everything else after it is also gonna probably get delayed. Anyway, let's start things off with their statement on it, and I will let you guys make an opinion yourselves, and then I will bring mine. While we have delivered many of the Act 1 features on time, we are not going to hit all of the goals on our Act 1 calendar. We have been prioritizing things like bug fixes, stability and game flow over the new features of Act 1. We set aside time for this to work, but the reality is that there are more things to fix and improve than we planned for. While this is the best thing to do for the game, it means some items from the calendar will be delayed, and here we have all of the features that have been delayed, which is pretty much everything else important on the content roadmap itself. We have the mastery system, the guilds, legendary missions phase 2, weekly stronghold challenges, leaderboards, the free play events, and of course the cataclysm. So all of this is gonna get delayed, and for good reason. The game isn't really in a great shape. We had a ton of updates in the past 3 months. A lot of them were very big, we can agree all on that. They brought in a ton of bug fixes, but that pretty much denotes only one thing, and that is the fact that at its core Anthem has a ton of problems. And you pretty much know the story by now. With very few time in development, or at the very least very few productive time in development, pretty much brings this kind of a result, okay? So once you waste 7 years and put all the work, or try to at least squeeze all of the work in the last 12 months before release, obviously you're going to not deliver a very good product, and this is of course a result of all of that. Now at the very least I'm gonna give props to Bioware for coming forth with this, notifying us about what's the plan for the future. I think it's better to be told now, even if the news that we get isn't, the greatest, even if it's not the happiest type of news. I think it's better to be delivered sooner rather than later, and even if it's bad news, at the very least you keep the fan base in the know, so they don't waste time asking questions that could easily be answered. So here you have it, the features, most of the features for the April content update, and the biggest ones we have been expecting are going to be delayed. For how long, I'm not really sure, but let's just move on. And they're pretty much going on with, we want to make sure everything we add to the game has a purpose and fits with our long-term goals. When we have information to share on the items above, we will do so. And there's also a lot of talk here on cataclysms, on the loot and communication and all of that. So this is pretty important. So the Cataclysm is an important addition to the game, and it's currently a big focus for the team. The Cataclysm will bring new challenges and rewards and pushes the story of Anthem forward. As our work continues, we will share more with you in May. I don't think we're gonna get any significant information on the Cataclysms, at the very least until the half of May. So whenever Bioware announces a certain month, don't expect the 1st, the 2nd, or the 3rd of May, or even the 10th. Expect it more like somewhere in between the 2nd and the 3rd week of the month. Moving on to the loot statement, of course there's not much that you haven't heard before. They might as well not even bring a statement on it, because it doesn't even bring that much new information, but I'm gonna read it anyway. So we have heard your concerns around endgame loot. We agree that our loot and progression systems need to be improved, and we are working towards this. When we have more information to share, we will. So this kind of makes me believe that they don't even have a full plan right now, or at the very least whatever plan they have right now is most probably not gonna be implementable within, the short term. Maybe that's why so many positions that have recently been opened at Bioware are in regards to the loot systems, item creation, and item balancing, and so on and so forth. So yeah, if you checked the past few weeks and you've been around my channel, you probably already know about that whole story. But this is what this type of statement makes me believe. It makes me believe that their plan of attack isn't fully yet fleshed out, which means it's gonna take quite a little bit of time until they come up with something good enough. And at this point, I'm not even sure if it's worth it for them to come up with something new, which I know is something that they want, or would it be better to just listen to the fan base, switch that loot drop rate a little bit higher, and just leave it at that in the meantime. So maybe that's why it's taking so long, maybe that's why they are so secretive about it, maybe because they haven't fully fleshed out their entire plan regarding this. But yeah, I digress. Going on the communication side, a lesson we have learned is we have been talking about things too early. There are so many factors that can cause us to pivot on our plans, whether it's bugs and stability issues, player feedback, or complications with a feature that requires us to take more time to deliver it. Our goal is to tell you about new content and features once the work is closer to being done, and I 100% agree with them on this one. At the same time, we want to provide more ways to get your feedback and for you to tell us what you think is fun or not fun. To facilitate this, we plan to introduce a player feedback environment, or PFE, an opportunity to get your feedback before we go live with major features, in the short term for PC only. So hopefully this means we're gonna get a private test server. I think that is what this post is implying. That is honestly one of the better news in this whole update, and getting, a private server like how Division 2 does it. This is something that we have talked for a very long time that Anthem truly needs. Even this update that dropped literally a few hours ago is riddled with bugs. There's simply no way for just one company to test out all of the possible outcomes, even if they hire thousands of people. Not in the context when the player base is made out of tens of thousands of people, maybe hundreds of thousands, maybe even more, which means that bugs are easier to flash out. But again, Anthem also has problems at its core. There's a lot of issues with bugs and stability due to its troubled development and the fact that it's been shipped out the door in an incomplete state. So yeah, we also have that on top of the normal bugs that usually occur. Anyway, in closing, we know we have been waiting for these updates and that you might not be pleased with where we are today. We understand and respect these perspectives. The only thing we can say is this: we believe in Anthem, we believe the game will be great, but we recognize getting there will take a lot of hard work. We want to do that work and we want you to all join us on the journey to get there. Thanks for taking the time to read this update, Ben and Chad. And honestly, this is, one of the more truthful updates and discussions that Bioware has brought us in the past 3 months. I commend them for the fact that they are straightforward, more straightforward than the usual, and they just laid out the entire situation as it is. So obviously they recognize that the game has a problem, not that it wasn't already obvious to begin with, but it's refreshing to see, a different stance from the people who created and brought this product to the market. Anyway, this is all there is to it though. This is all there is to the new, well, let's say content roadmap. Can we even call it like that at this point, since it's all getting delayed? I'm not really sure, but this is the news. This is how it's going to go forward. Now I'm really curious, what are you guys planning to do in the upcoming months? Are you shelving Anthem for something else? Are you planning to come back in like 6 months to see how it is? If so, comment down below and I'm going to try to reply to as many people as possible. In the meantime, of course, a thumbs up and a subscribe would be super appreciated, and I'm gonna see you guys next time, so peace out.